In the world of upside-down cakes, pineapples reign supreme, but lately all kinds of other fruits like apple, plums, and peaches are getting in on the action. But one fruit that has yet to make it to the party is the poor little pear. But Erin has figured it all out for us.
I have. And you cannot just take a pear and put it into any pineapple upside down cake and think it's going to work, because it's just a very different type of fruit. There's some that are very sweet and some that are not very sweet. There's some that are very firm and others that are very juicy. So we tried a bunch of different pears. We tried Anjou, Bartlett, Comise, and we found that Bosc is our favorite. Even when they're underripe, they're sweet. And so when they are ripe, they're perfect. I've already peeled 2 pears, and I'm going to peel this 3rd pear. I'm going to cut the pear in half, and I'm going to core them all out. So I'm just going to cut this in half, and then each half in half again. We're only going to use 5 of these halves, so that's for you for snacking if you want to, if you get hungry. We're using a 2-inch high pan, and it's a 9-inch round. I've sprayed it with vegetable spray, and I also put a piece of parchment paper in here. The parchment is key, mainly so that the fruit does not stick to the pan when we unmold it. We're going to add 4 tablespoons of melted butter.
And that's just unsalted butter, right?
It's just unsalted butter. Spread it out.
I like this cake already.
It's so easy, yep. And brown sugar, my favorite ingredient, dark brown sugar. A half a cup of dark brown sugar, and I'm going to add cornstarch to this. This is 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. It's really important because we're not cooking the pears, and because they're just naturally moist, they have a lot of liquid. And as we baked the cakes one after another, we found that the pears are giving off a lot of liquid, and that liquid is just sogging out pockets and kind of dripping down the sides. And at the end of the day, we found that just adding 2 teaspoons of cornstarch to our brown sugar mixture is all that we needed, because as the pears baked, the liquid came out and the cornstarch captured it and held onto it. And we're also going to add 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. So I'm just going to combine this. But now I'm just going to sprinkle this bottom of the cake pan evenly. And all that's left to do is to add the pears to the pan. We're going to start by fanning the pears clockwise.
All right.
You can go counterclockwise too if you want.
If you're in Australia.
Today, we're here in Boston. The shape of the pear is just perfect for this dish because it just fits in the pan perfectly. We have almost filled the pan, but now I'm just going to squeeze a couple more right in the center right there. I'm just trimming off the top, and I'm just going to go like yin and yang. And that's it. Okay, Bridget, it's time to make the cake. Bosc pears don't have the tartness that apples and pineapples have, so therefore we need to create a cake batter that is not overly sweet. So we tried a few different things, and we found that walnut flour was perfect, because walnuts, they're very earthy, and they also are a little astringent.
Well, that kind of makes sense. Sometimes for dessert, I'll just have a slice of pear, maybe a little blue cheese, and some walnuts. So that is a classic combination.
It's a perfect combination, exactly. So we are going to start by making our walnut flour.
Okay.
1 cup of toasted walnuts. Half a cup of flour, all-purpose flour, half a teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of baking soda. And I'm just going to pulse this for about 8 to 10 1-second pulses until it's nice and finely ground. As you can see, it's nice and fine. So because we are using walnut flour in place of some of the all-purpose flour, we're losing some gluten. And so therefore we have to add some structure back to this. So we're going to use 3 eggs and 1 cup of sugar, and we're going to process this for about 2 minutes. And what this is going to do is it's going to create this matrix of protein, and it's going to add the structure back to the cake. Okay, so that's gone for 2 minutes, Bridget. Now we're going to add our fat. We are using 4 tablespoons of melted butter and also 1/4 cup of oil. And the butter is going to give us a buttery flavor that we want, and the oil is going to give us that nice tender moist crumb that we want as well. Now we're going to add our walnut mixture back to this. Pulse it to combine it, and it's going to take about 5 1-second pulses. Now we're going to pour our batter over our pears.
Bye-bye, pears.
I'm just going to pour it evenly. It's okay if some of the pears pop through the batter as it bakes, so it's just going to cover it right up. Now we're going to bake this lower than normal. We want our cake to rise very slowly and evenly, and the lower temperature prevents a dome from happening. And also that lower temperature helps to protect our pears from over-browning. We're going to put this in the 300-degree oven for about 70 minutes, and we're going to rotate it after 40.
I don't see any pears. They got all covered up.
Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to test to make sure that it's done. I'm going to stick a toothpick in it, and it should come out clean. And it did.
Not a single crumb on that toothpick.
Okay, so now we're going to let this cool for about 15 minutes. We want that cake to just set, but we don't want to wait too long or else the pears will stick. Okay, Bridget, it's time to unmold. It's been about 15 minutes, and the cake is set, and the fruit is still hot enough so that it won't stick to the bottom of the pan.
Right, because caramel, once it sets up, it's like glue.
Exactly.
So you don't want to let it cool down too long.
Exactly, right. All right, so I'm gonna unmold it. Just gonna flip it out. And the pan's still a little hot, so I'm gonna use a towel. All right. Okay, so now we're just gonna peel the parchment off. And there's our cake.
So elegant. Now you're gonna tell me I have to wait to eat it.
2 more hours. We're just gonna let it cool to room temperature and then it's all ours. It's time.
It's time, hallelujah.
Yeah, so we're gonna transfer the cake to our serving platter.
Because it's too pretty to stay on that
Isn't
wire
that beautiful?
rack.
It's so elegant.
This is so beautiful. Oh.
All right.
Oh, yes, look at that. I love the color of the crumb of the cake because of the walnuts.
Yes. Okay, we have some creme fraiche here. So this adds like a little tanginess to our nice and sweet pear.
All right, I'm going in.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to say, I'm incredibly surprised at how great this cake tastes. Because you think pineapple upside down cake, apple upside down cake, they're pretty classic. Put pear in the mix, is it gonna work? Yes, it's going to work. The cake itself, with the walnuts in there, really beautiful, deep, toasty flavor.
Yep.
And the caramel on the top, it's everything.
It's beautiful, and there's no soggy pockets thanks to that cornstarch.
Spectacular.
Thank you, Bridget.
Well, the underrated pear gets top billing in this winning upside down cake. Use bosk pears and cut them into wedges so that they bake up with the perfect texture. For a hearty cake base, sub out some of the flour with ground toasted walnuts and mix eggs in the food processor for more structure. Now be sure to remove the cake from the pan after 15 minutes, which allows that top to set. And there you have it, an outstanding dessert that turns the cake world on its head, Pear-Walnut upside down cake. And you can get this recipe and all the recipes from this season along with our tastings, testings, and selected episodes on our website, americastestkitchen.com. Pear-Walnut cake.
Thanks for watching America's Test Kitchen. What'd you think?
Well, leave a comment and let us know which recipes you're excited to make, or you can just say hello.
You can find links to today's recipes and reviews in the video description.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
See you later.
I'll see you later.